my friends, welcome finally to another episode of Currently Inked. Dag is my name, and I am also quite well known as Paperdag. That's my online handle on Instagram and also on Ravelry. And today we want to talk about fountain pens and about inks. I love watching Currently Inked videos, and I have missed filming a Currently Inked video, and so I'm excited that we're finally gonna get to one. I don't know who I am because I usually have a gazillion pens inked up, but right now, but you hear me say that, I don't. I still have my box of TWSBI Ecos, which are all inked, but otherwise I am down to, yes, believe it or not, 10 pens. Oops, I have no idea how this happened, but actually I do. I have used 2 boxes of pens. One is the large one with the TWSBI Ecos, and the other one is the one with the pens. And I write a lot of letters, or I love to write letters, but at times when I don't get to write a lot, I just don't write the pens dry. And because I easily get bored with an ink, and I tend to fill up my pens pretty well, it takes me a long time to empty them. So I thought, well, let's give this a try. Let's reduce the amount of pens that I have inked and see how I like that. And if I really need a little bit of extra, I still have that box of TWSBIs. But otherwise, I am usually on the go in the house with this Galen leather, a zippered pouch, and I have 9 pens in here, and there's one more which I keep by the computer because I use it for work mail. It's not super important, and yes, because occasionally I forget what's in here. I have, as a quick reference, my palette of colors taped in here because I just like it that way. Quick glance helps me out. And yeah, because I forget. Let's just say it the way it is. When I haven't written for a while, I'm like, what was that again? And so I have it right here on my piece of paper. The other thing that's in here is my journal. And you may wonder why it's gaping up. I put in photos, washi tape, all kinds of stuff. And a lot of times the writing has been bleeding through the backside. So I tend to write only on the right. And I put my decorations in on the left side. Yeah. So I just got back from a trip. This is also what I take on a trip. However, I take my most precious pens out, the ones that would be expensive to replace, or the ones that are super special. Well, no, I cannot really say that because they're all super special and I do want to use them. So I kind of find that balance between very expensive, staying at home, and taking the other ones on a trip. And so last time I expected to write some personal notes about a knitting retreat. So I took the journal as well as the travel journal. This is one that says 2022. Yes, it does, because I often don't fill them up, and then come on, that's the back, Okay, let's put my face out of there. Yes, now you can see it. So, yeah. So I fill it up. I fill up the books, or I grab them according to however space is left. I try to guess how many pages I will need, and for a given trip. And a lot of times it's just sketching what we did, and I highlight. I mean, I'm especially mark. Can you see the places that we visited on that specific day, so that when I create a photo album, I quickly find what that picture shows if I didn't write it down right away. Yeah, I mean, if I don't have it on the photo, a lot of times I have a picture of a sign outside of the museum, but not always. Yeah, so I still have to, of course, finish marking the cover of this, and currently inked is still in this Tomoe River notebook, decorated with stickers on the outside. And yep, love the book. Tomoe River paper, graph paper, 52 grams, and that's my favorite paper for fountain pens. It's so funny. I probably mentioned that, but it must have been a long time ago. I used to not like Tomoe River paper initially. Yes, hard to believe, but initially it felt flimsy to me and too thin. And then once I started using it and I started learning more about the properties of ink, I realized how amazingly it shows off all the properties, like sheen, shimmer, shading, of course, but especially I noticed it with the sheen. I'm sure there's a lot of other papers, but I like to keep it simple, and so this is my focus right now, and that's also what I write my letters on, 52 grams Tomoe River paper. Alrighty, let's go to the desk and I will show you what I currently have, which pens I currently have in use. And when I tell you they're all in this pouch, I also have to mention that I write these days, and that changes from time to time, but these days I write on my kitchen table. I grab a cup of tea, or I do it right after breakfast when I have my coffee. Not that you care, but just so you know. So this is nice and portable. I shouldn't say that you don't care, but who knows? Okay, let's take a look at these pens. This is a Pelikan Pura, which is the one that I use on my computer desk for little work mails, notes that I send out with yarn orders. This is a new to me pen, a Geha piston filler, Pelikan M150 piston, Pelikan M400 piston, Pelikan 400 piston filled, Pelikan 400 NN piston filler, Pelikan 620 Grand Place piston filler, Lamy 2000 with a very special double broad oblique nib piston filler, Aurora 88 piston filler, Waterman Edson piston, cartridge converter, I'm pretty sure. We'll have to check on that. And the Pelikan Pura has a Pelikan, let's see. I think it's a large cartridge that I have in here. Let's start with this guy since... Sorry for the squeaking. Yes, I got a large Pelican cartridge in here. Cleaned, rinsed, refilled. And this is a broad nib. Come on. I'm not quite sure why it is not focusing. Oh, well, I'll have to do it like this. All right, let's start with this one. Gonna rearrange my things here. And I never put the cap on, never post my pens, so. So are you guys all getting the diamond ink vent? I decided against it. I'm just worried about being too overwhelmed, about more larger amounts of inks, and because many of you may know that I like to buy bottles. I have quite a bit of samples also, but I do like bottled inks. This is a mix of Diamond Winter Spice and Lamy Mango. And the Pecan Puma with the broad nib. So the Winter Spice is a dark, it's a darker color, and it has shimmer, and this pen has no problems dealing with the shimmer. However, the ink color itself was quite dark, and so I thought, let's give this a try. Was the first one. All right. Here is the beautiful Waterman Edson. That is what they call a large nib, an L nib. It's a nice seal in here. And yes, it is a cartridge converter. Let's see if it comes out. Yes, it sure does. But I still usually fill it through the nib so the section is nicely saturated right away. And this is a sample that I grabbed. I believe I won it at bingo at one of my pen club meetings. Okay. And this is one that I inked in my quest to use up samples because it's a gusher and this will be empty quickly. It is Pen PBS. Has a number 129 and it's called Zoo. Zoo, Z something. Hold on a second. Zimo. But I'm not sure. I don't have any other pen BBS ink, so I don't know if they're all numbered and have this additional name. Not quite sure. So this was the Waterman Edson. Next is this. You've seen this before. It's an Aurora 88 that my husband had engraved for me with the name and the date of the date of birth of our son. And I filled it with Diamine Safari. That's a broad nib. This, so I didn't say, this was a sampled gift. This was a bottle that I own. This the sample that I won, and this was a sample that my pen friend Alexandra sent me. And you hear me laughing because it was so funny, because she said I had to add a sample of this color because I knew otherwise you'd be jealous. And yes, I couldn't agree more. I would have been jealous and wanted some safari green. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful 14K nib. Next is my Lamy 2000 with the crazy nib. I love this ink. Another sample that I got from my pen friend Alexandra. And I would not recommend to buy a nib like this that is so kind of eccentric without trying it. I bought this pen in the Lamy flagship store, at the Lamy flagship store in San Francisco, where I did indeed try it and fell in love really, really hard. You may recall that I had this pen forever inked with Sailor Virginia, but I was ready for a change, and when I got this sample I thought, oh, this is going to be fabulous, and it will show off the shading in the ink nicely, and that it does. And now comes another one that I really love a lot. I'm a giant Paperdag fan, if you haven't guessed. And this is a Paperdag 620 Grand Place, named after the specific location in Brussels. And the nib is a broad nib, and that's a 14K, I believe. Is it 18K? 18K. Sorry. Yep, two-tone. Love, love, love. The ink. Oh my goodness. Forever I had in this pen Birmingham Pen Company Copperhead. And then I was ready for a change and I started mixing. So now I have a vial full of an ink blend which consists of a bit of copperhead that I still had, some orange, and who knows what else, because I did write it down somewhere, but I couldn't find my notes. So this is composed of at least 5 different small ink amounts. That's why I call it a crazy deck mix. Next is my beautiful vintage, what does it say? Mr. or Mrs. Meyer Pelikan 400 NN Brown, with also a double broad oblique nib. And this one I have inked up with Pelikan Edelstein Rose Quartz. Did you all love the Pelikan hub? Yes, if you see that, this nib shifts a little bit. I'll have to show it to Joel, but it's not so bad that I have to send it off. Pelikan Edelstein Rose Quartz. $14K nib. I got this pen from the flea market not the flea market, online on eBay in Germany. So I was really looking for a double broad oblique with a Pelikan pen because my pen friend Alexandra, she has one of those, and so I asked her advice also about the price, and she said that was okay. I paid about $100 for this one. Yeah, next is a Pelikan 400, not M400, but before that, with a beautiful broad oblique nib. And yes, of course, when I found out that Sailor released New Mexico ink, I got it immediately, of course. And it's a gorgeous color. Keep on doing this so you can't see. Sorry. Yell at me. Just tell me, okay, if I mess up. Okay, am I in the middle? Yes, I am. Sailor, New Mexico. Woohoo! I really waited for this one for so long. And I thought, well, either it's going to be a turquoise or the gold color that we have on the New Mexico flag. But yeah, or a dirty light brown for the colors of the desert. But I just love this. It's beautiful, and the shading is really lovely. Next is a sample that I had ordered for myself online, and it is in the Pelikan in the blue M400 that you have seen before, but I may have talked about it, that it always bugged me that the nib was silver. So it probably was a steel nib that my friend that I bought it from had switched around, and I had not paid attention. And then when I asked Joel, please keep him in mind. He's awesome. He sells used and new Pelikan pens and fixes pens, and I love him dearly. And so I got this nib for a really fair price. I believe it was used, but I don't care. So he sent me the nib unit, and now I am super happy with this gorgeous M400. And it is a what everybody calls a total gusher, which is absolutely fine with me. M400 blue, as you can see, with a double broad oblique and 14K, and the ink is Ferriswood Press. Now this is from the Fashion District series, and the color is, I hope you're not gonna laugh at me because I'm not sure how this is pronounced. Is it Bathurst or is it Bathurst, or I have no clue at all. But I focus on the blue denim part. So yes, it's a shimmer ink, and I started making my piece with blues. It's funny, at the Pelikan Hub, one of the participants, he's like, so you're German? And he was quizzing me about a bunch of stuff. And then he said all of a sudden, do you hate blue ink? And I'm like, yes, I do. So he said, yes, he's met another person who also does not like blue inks because they grew up with blue inks in school and had to use blue all the time. And that's what it was with me. So here we go. Here is a Pelikan 150 with a broad nib. And I once got a sample of this ink in the ink swap that Simone, I'm sure you know her channel here on YouTube. So in the ink swap that she organized last year, I received a sample of this ink, and I've loved it ever since. And my pen friend Alexandra bought it and didn't like it so much, and I just now finally bought a bottle. And also Alexandra, she sent me a sample. So I have dumped the sample of Rose Gilt Tinte into my bottle, and so it's full to the brim. This has a broad nib, so it's probably either gold plated or, yeah, definitely not a gold nib. I do know that. And this is Robert Oster Rose Gilt Tinte. Okay. Pretty full. I just got that bottle while we were traveling, and in Austin, actually, at this gorgeous, gorgeous paper store. Loved it. Yeah. And I got another ink, which is in this new pen. Schulfüller mit Reservetank, which I have no idea how the reserve tank works, but I haven't done any research at all. I found this one in an antique store in, let me think for a second, where was that? I think it was New Braunfels. Yeah. definitely a fine nib. Not golden for a regular school pen. And this is my other new ink that I got in a bottle. To call it the new Braunfels. Okay, new Braunfels. And sure, it's fine nib. And the ink is no, it's not Robert Oster. It's the Atramentis Jeanne d'Arc. Pretty. Yeah, oh my gosh, are we already at the end? See, I told you that's not a lot of pens. But it's okay, that way they will get emptied. Let's take one last look. I'm going to go through them slowly. And since that Pelikan Pura lives on my desk, you will guess that there's an empty slot, whoopsie, in my Gillen leather. And what I'll put in here is a new pen that I'm expecting. I have decided to purchase a Delta pen. It's called the Dune Yellow because it has a yellow ink window but I decided to get it with a broad nib, so that's what I'm waiting for. Yep. Yeah. This is not a groomed collection. I don't even know how to describe my ink choices. I just do it whenever. Like this was a new one. These two new. The Bathurst, I keep saying Bathurst. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Bathurst. No clue. But that one I ordered as a sample and I had to put in right away. When I got this one, I picked a pen right away. And yeah, quite random with my choices. No true fault theme or anything. I hope you still enjoyed looking at these with me. And I've missed doing the currently inked episodes, and so hopefully I'll get to them a little more regularly now. Take care until I see you again. Bye-bye.